In the grim annals of American crime, few names evoke as much horror as Albert Fish, a seemingly frail old man with a soft-spoken demeanor. Fish concealed an unspeakable darkness within, a compulsion driven by sadism, masochism, and cannibalism. Dubbed the Gray Man, the Brooklyn Vampire, and the Boogeyman, his crimes during the 1920s shocked the nation and pushed the limits of human depravity. Born Hamilton Howard Fish on May 19, 1870, in Washington, D.C., Fish's life was steeped in trauma from the beginning. His father died when he was just 5, and his mother, unable to care for him, placed him in an orphanage. It was there that Fish reportedly began to enjoy the beatings he received, an early sign of the profound psychological disturbances that would define his life. As he grew older, Fish developed a bizarre and extreme array of sexual fetishes, including self-harm and flagellation. He boasted of inserting needles into his body, even into his groin and abdomen, some of which were discovered decades later via X-ray. These acts, however, were just preludes to the horrific crimes he would later commit. By the 1920s, Fish was traveling across the country, posing as a painter or handyman, using these guises to gain access to families. He preyed on vulnerable children, typically targeting the poor or unprotected. His crimes were not merely sexual in nature. They were acts of monstrous cruelty and ritualistic torture. Fish later claimed to have killed several children, though only 3 murders were confirmed by police. His most famous crime was the murder of 10-year-old Grace Budd in 1928. Fish initially posed as a wealthy man named Frank Howard and offered a job to Grace's older brother, gaining the trust of the Budd family. He convinced them to let Grace accompany him to a fictitious children's party. She was never seen alive again. 6 years later, Fish anonymously mailed a letter to Grace's mother that revealed in horrifying detail how he had killed and eaten her daughter. The grotesque confession led to his capture when police traced the letterhead to a Manhattan rooming house. There, Fish was arrested and confessed to the killing, along with dozens of other alleged crimes. Albert Fish's trial in 1935 was a media spectacle, while his defense pleaded insanity, supported by the fact that Fish claimed to receive instructions from God to kill. He was ultimately found sane and guilty. The jury, visibly shaken by the gruesome evidence, sentenced him to death. Fish was executed on January 16, 1936, in Sing Sing Prison's electric chair. According to legend, the execution was delayed because the metal needles embedded in his body caused malfunctions. Albert Fish's legacy remains one of the darkest in American criminal history. His crimes weren't simply acts of murder, but disturbing expressions of deep psychological torment. Though the true number of his victims is unknown, Fish's story serves as a chilling reminder of how evil can hide behind the most unassuming facades. To this day, Albert Fish is remembered not only for his monstrous acts, but as a case study in the extremes of human depravity and the psychological torment that can fester beneath a quiet exterior. Whew. Stick around for more. It's KeysDAN, RadioWhat.com, DJLittleRock.com. Peace. I'm out of here.